Below is the same text rewritten again into one single continuous paragraph, with no words skipped, removed, corrected, or added. Only formatting, line breaks, has been changed. The shocking news is out on Bill Murray, and it isn't good. For decades, Bill Murray has been Hollywood's beloved eccentric. The deadpan comedy legend whose random appearances at college parties, photobombing of engagement shoots, and unpredictable public antics have created an almost mythical reputation. His quirky off-screen persona seemed to perfectly complement his on-screen roles, making him one of the rare celebrities both admired for his talent and genuinely adored for his personality. But behind that carefully cultivated image of charming spontaneity lurks a much darker reality that the entertainment industry has long whispered about but rarely confronted publicly. Recent developments have forced a painful reassessment of Murray's behavior, transforming him from comedy's beloved rebel into something far more concerning. The Bill Murray mythology has been powerful enough to overshadow the reality for years, explained a veteran Hollywood producer who has worked with the actor. The quirky stories about him crashing weddings or washing dishes at someone's house party made great talk show fodder, but they masked more troubling patterns that insiders have recognized for decades. Now, as new allegations emerge and old stories resurface with fresh scrutiny, the public image of Murray is undergoing a dramatic transformation. The distinction between eccentric genius and problematic behavior has never been clearer, and the entertainment industry's long-standing tolerance of his conduct is facing unprecedented challenges. Tonight, we examine the shocking revelations about Bill Murray that have emerged in 2025, fact-check the most serious allegations, and explore how these developments are forcing both Hollywood and fans to reckon with the true nature of a man they thought they knew, but perhaps never really did. A female crew member's complaint shut down a $35 million film production. Murray's response: "The inappropriate behavior was just a joke, but nobody's laughing anymore, especially not the woman who received a 6-figure settlement." There's news that Bill Murray has been accused of inappropriate behavior on a new film called Being Mortal. One sexual misconduct allegation that halted a film. In April 2022, filming on Being Mortal, a $35 million production directed by Aziz Ansari and starring Murray alongside Seth Rogen, came to an abrupt and shocking halt. What began as an exciting adaptation of Sergeant Atul Gowen's best-selling book suddenly became Hollywood's latest Chalkametto flashpoint when a female crew member filed a formal complaint alleging inappropriate behavior by Murray on set. The specifics of the complaint, initially shrouded in studio secrecy, have since emerged through reporting by multiple outlets. According to sources confirmed by People magazine and other credible publications, Murray allegedly kissed the much younger female production assistant while both were wearing masks as part of CO protocols, positioned himself inappropriately close to her, and engaged in other unwanted physical contact that made her deeply uncomfortable. The production company, Searchlight Pictures, owned by Disney, took immediate action, suspending filming pending an investigation. Despite the financial investment already made in the project and Murray's star power, the studio did not rush to resume production. In fact, 3 years later, Being Mortal remains in limbo, effectively cam-led without an official announcement, a testament to how seriously the allegations were taken. It's extraordinary for a studio to shove a project of that scale over misconduct allegations, noted an entertainment attorney who specializes in production issues. The financial loss alone tells you how significant this situation was. Studios don't walk away from that kind of investment unless the behavior was genuinely egregious or the evidence overwhelming. Following an investigation, Murray reportedly reached a settlement with a female crew member for approximately $100,000, a significant sum that further suggested the seriousness of the incident. The settlement included a non-disclosure agreement preventing the woman from discussing the specifics publicly or pursuing further legal action. What makes this case particularly significant isn't just the incident itself, but how it contradicts Murray's carefully crafted public persona. The man known for spontaneous, joyful interactions with strangers, crashing bachelor parties to offer relationship advice, or joining kickball games in public parks, was now revealed to have crossed boundaries in ways that left at least one colleague feeling violated enough to risk her career by filing a formal complaint. The power dynamics in this situation can't be overlooked, explained a workplace harassment expert who has consulted on entertainment industry cases. Murray is a legendary figure with enormous industry influence. For a crew member to file a complaint against someone of his stature requires extraordinary courage and suggests the behavior was serious enough to overcome the very real fear of career repercussions. The being mortal incident represents a turning point in how Murray's behavior is perceived. The moment when actions previously dismissed as Bill became impossible to separate from the broader reckoning around power, consent, and workplace conduct in Hollywood. Murray claimed it was just a joke. The same defense used by countless men caught crossing boundaries. But his own words reveal a more disturbing truth. He's done this before, and he still doesn't fully understand why it's wrong. A difference of opinion with a woman I'm working with. I did something I thought was funny, and it wasn't taken that way. 2. Murray's own comments on the incident. In a January 2025 interview with The Guardian that was intended to promote an upcoming film project, Murray finally addressed the being mortal incident in detail nearly 3 years after it occurred. His comments, rather than diffusing concerns about his behavior, raised new questions about his understanding of appropriate workplace conduct and consent. "I feel sort of barbecued by the whole thing," Murray said, positioning himself as a victim of changing social standards rather than someone who had violated another person's boundaries. "It was something I thought was funny. I meant it as a joke, but it wasn't taken that way." Most troublingly, Murray acknowledged that this wasn't an isolated incident, but part of a pattern. "I've done this kind of thing before, in a way that I thought was funny, and it used to get laughs." This admission suggested that Murray had repeatedly engaged in similar behavior throughout his career, protected by an industry culture that dismissed or even celebrated such actions as harmless eccentricity. While Murray expressed some regret, saying "it still bothers me," and acknowledging that times change, his framing of the incident revealed a fundamental disconnection from the gravity of workplace harassment. By focusing on his own feelings of being barbecued and emphasizing his humorous intent, Murray demonstrated a concerning lack of empathy for the woman who felt violated enough to file a formal complaint. Murray's response follows a familiar pattern we see with many powerful men confronted with misconduct allegations, observed a cultural critic who has written extensively about Hashmeto in Hollywood. There's a partial acknowledgement of wrongdoing coupled with language that subtly shifts blame to changing social standards rather than the behavior itself. The emphasis on his own discomfort rather than the impact on the victim is particularly telling. The interview also revealed Murray's apparent belief that his intentions should outweigh the impact of his actions, a perspective that experts in workplace harassment identify as a common barrier to meaningful accountability. By focusing on what he meant rather than how his actions affected others, Murray demonstrated the very mindset that allows inappropriate behavior to persist in professional environments. When someone says, "I meant it as a joke," after engaging in unwanted physical contact, they are revealing a fundamental misunderstanding of consent, explained a workplace harassment prevention consultant. Humor requires shared understanding and willingness from all parties. Using "it was just a joke" as a defense shows a person hasn't fully grasped why their behavior was problematic in the first place. Murray's comments also notably lacked any specific apology to the woman involved. Instead, framing the incident in terms of his own career consequences and emotional response. This absence spoke volumes about his perspective on the situation, suggesting he viewed himself primarily as the wrong party despite having reached a significant financial settlement with the actual victim. The interview could have been an opportunity for genuine accountability, noted the cultural critic. Instead, it reinforced concerns that Murray still doesn't fully understand the impact of his actions or recognize the fundamental power imbalance that made his joke inappropriate in the first place. When Scarlett Johansson says something was really bad, Hollywood listens. Her careful comments about Murray suggest an industry-wide reckoning with a man whose behavior has been excused for far too long. "So excited to work with him. I can imagine. And I think it was hard because we were, it was such a strange 3 industry and co-star reactions." The entertainment industry's response to the Murray allegations has been revealing. A mixture of careful public statements and more candid private assessments that suggest many insiders have long been aware of problematic patterns in his behavior. Perhaps most significant are the comments from Scarlett Johansson, who starred opposite Murray in Sofia Coppola's acclaimed Lost in Translation. In a March 2025 profile for Vanity Fair, Johansson addressed the being mortal incident with carefully chosen words that nonetheless conveyed the seriousness of the situation. What happened was really bad. Bill's had to face some hard truths. I think it's been humbling for him, which is necessary. Coming from Johansson, an A-list star not known for publicly criticizing colleagues, these remarks carried particular weight. Other former collaborators have been more direct in private conversations while remaining cautious about going on record. Everyone's watching how this plays out, explained a talent agent with several clients who have worked with Murray. There's a calculation happening about whether to publicly support him, distance themselves, or stay silent. But in private conversations, many industry veterans are saying this has been a long time coming. Directors who have worked with Murray have been particularly conflicted in their responses. While some have defended his creative contributions, others have acknowledged the challenges his behavior created on set. Wes Anderson, who has cast Murray in numerous films, offered a carefully nuanced statement to The New Yorker. Bill brings something unique to every project, but that doesn't mean working with him is always easy. There have been difficult moments that I've had to navigate. The industry response tells us something important, noted an entertainment journalist who covers Hollywood workplace culture. The absence of the usual full-throated defenses we often see when major stars face allegations speaks volumes. There's no coordinated campaign of co-stars rushing to say, "This doesn't match my experience." That silence suggests many people have had problematic experiences with Murray, but weren't previously empowered to speak about them. Perhaps most telling are the reports from industry insiders about Murray's changing status in Hollywood. According